A recent study shows that children's diets at home and at school aren't where they should be. In fact, the data showed a child's intake was minimally adequate. Ugh. Schools around the country are shaping up and changing their ways with hopefully a ripple effect across the rest of the country. Here to help cast the first stone is our good friend Stephanie Hodges, a registered dietitian and founder of the Nourished Principles. It's great to see you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
So, indeed. First, before we get into the grant that you were given and the project that you're going to be working on for the new school year, can you tell us, just in general, your thoughts on kids' nutrition these days?
So I think there's always room for improvement when it comes to what we're eating. As you mentioned, the research does show that we have a little bit of a ways to go, and this is for both adults and children. The American Heart Association actually recommends that children consume less than 6 teaspoons of added sugar a day, which is only 25 grams, which can add up really, really quickly when we're thinking about everything that they eat throughout the day. So that's really the idea of this project, is making those improvements over time to really make those long-term impacts.
All right, let's talk about that project. So you just received a great grant from a very well-known yogurt company. Tell us more about this.
Yes, so I received a $20,000 grant from Siggy's Dairy. Siggy's is a yogurt company, so you might be familiar with seeing them in the grocery aisles. They started a new grant program called Siggy's Starters, and what it is it's given to nutrition professionals like me, dietitians, to be able to make an impact in our communities, to make our communities healthier. So my project is actually partnering with a group of school districts in Wyoming to reduce added sugar in their school breakfast program.
How did you make that connection from being in South Carolina to helping schools out in Wyoming?
Yeah, so I say the school nutrition world is big, but it's also very small. So I was able to connect with a director out there, and she said, we have a cooperative, and school nutrition cooperatives are pretty common because if you think about it, if school districts join together, they have more purchasing power. So they can get a lot of different products, they can get them at a better rate. So I connected with her, and she said, this is something we would love to do. So they were really excited about the project, and I was able to just connect with her and chat about it, and the rest is history. So I'm excited to get to work with them.
Well, it starts in Wyoming, but then we're hoping to see that going everywhere in the United States. How would you view and what do you know about the Charleston and other local school districts in the Low Country?
Yeah, so one thing about school nutrition is it can look very similar because there are federal meal pattern requirements. And that really changed in 2010 with the passage of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act. So it set requirements for things like whole grains, fruits and vegetables, sodium targets. So a lot of the schools are really operating all within these meal patterns. Charleston County actually just received a farm to school grant, which is really great as well. And school districts across this country are really making these huge strides in improving their food. I say school food has come a really long way in the last decade. So it's really great to see some of the innovative things that they do, but everything is kind of bound by funds. School nutrition programs are operated through meal reimbursement. So when school boards are doing their budgets, they don't give money to school nutrition. They have to operate on how many meals that they serve and the reimbursement they get from that. So grants are something that a lot of school districts go after to be able to do extra projects just like this one.
And you're going to be creating a toolkit. So you're just going to create kind of this starter program that teachers, educators, and other school administrators can then take and distribute for generations to come.
Yeah, so I'm going to be working with the school districts in Wyoming to actually assess their current menus and implement new lower sugar recipes. So that's what's going to be going on there. But as part of the project, as you mentioned, I'm also going to be creating a toolkit that other school districts, teachers, educators, whomever can use, and they can actually walk through the steps that I'm going to be doing with the Wyoming school districts to make these changes in their schools.
Yeah, and just to give people kind of an idea as to what the impact is, you're talking about 30,000 children who are going to be affected by this. I want to talk a little bit more about the impact of sugar in a child's diet. We're going to do that after the break, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We've been chatting with Stephanie Hodges, a registered dietitian and founder of the Nourished Principles, and she has just been given a $20,000 grant by the Siggy's Yogurt Company. It's a dairy company that a lot of us are familiar with. No real added sugars to their products. Everything is very healthy and natural, which is really how we want to be raising our children. And this $20,000 grant is going to be going to helping Wyoming schools kind of reinvent the school nutrition that they're providing to their students. Because of that, sugar is kind of the number one thing that has been a problem. Children just overexposed to it. Can you talk about the negative impact of having too much sugar in a child's diet?
Yeah, so the idea is that we really want our children eating the most nutritious foods as possible. So we're really wanting them to get fruits, vegetables, dairy that has a lot of those great nutrients like vitamin D and calcium. We want them drinking water instead of sugar sweetened beverages, because we know that there are a lot of negative health impacts with consumption of added sugar. It can lead to children being more overweight and also adults. It can lead to just feeling really sluggish. And it actually will end up, if you're consuming a lot of added sugar, you might get full on those types of foods, and then you're not wanting to eat those fruits and vegetables. So we're really wanting to think about how can we nourish and how can we fuel our bodies with the best possible foods. And so wanting to get those into children as early as possible so that they start creating those healthy habits early on.
And why is that important? And what is the impact of eliminating sugar in children's diets? So what kind of a physical, cognitive change would you see in a child by taking all that sugar out of their diet?
So it might depend child to child. You might not see a huge difference if they're not really eating that much added sugar, but essentially you might see that they're thinking a little bit clearer, that they're less sluggish. A lot of people do relate added sugar consumption to hyperactivity. The research isn't exactly clear on that. There's not a direct link, but everyone kind of responds differently to food and things like that. So we're really just wanting to focus on how can we replace added sugar with some of the nutrients that we know that we're not getting enough of, like vitamin D and calcium.
Okay. And what about some of the foods where sugar is hiding out?
Yeah, so it can be really challenging to look and recognize and see that there might be added sugar in a food or beverage item. There are actually new nutrition facts labels that break that out. So if you look at nutrition facts label, you might have saw that those got a makeover a couple of years ago. So now it makes it really clear of how much added sugar are in products.
Right. So people, you need to read the labels.
You know, of course, when we're talking about birthday parties and celebrations and things like that, you know, we're not wanting to look at every single label and take the fun away from gatherings like that. But we also want to be really mindful that, you know, what we're fueling our bodies with 90% of the time is really what is going to impact our health and what is really going to set us up for success, and make sure that we are trying to stay away from some of these chronic diseases that are related to our diets.
Yes. And anything else besides sugar, anything else that parents might want to take notes on when they see this interview and they're listening to what you have to say, anything else that can help them kind of refresh their children's diet so that they're starting the new school year on a better foot?
Yeah, so I always say fruits and vegetables and water and whole grains. Those are some really big ones. Also, research has shown us that it can take up to 10 times for a child to accept a new food. So if you offer a vegetable, they don't like it, keep offering it over and over and over again. It seems really tiresome, but it can really take those just reintroducing of the same healthy foods before they say, oh, actually, yeah, I do like this. So just keep up the good work, try again, and you can never have too many fruits and vegetables. And just making it a really fun experience and a really positive one can really change the conversation and the behaviors around healthy eating.
You can do it.
A little.
Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing with us, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
We're back after this.